All right, shall we? Welcome, everybody, to the Belvedere City Council regular meeting of July 1st, 2024. If the clerk will help me with the roll call, please.
Albertini,
Here.
Brereton,
Here.
Flurry,
Here.
Frank,
Here.
Freeman. Here. Gramkowski.
Here.
McGee,
Here.
Mulhall. Mulhall's absent. Snow,
Here.
Stevens,
Here.
9 present.
Okay, thank you. If you please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, tonight we thank you for our country, our community, our families, and our freedom. Lord, we thank you for our current military service members and for the men and women veterans who have served and sacrificed throughout our nation's history. We pray that you bless them and that their families for their undying sacrifice. We thank you for our police and fire, paramedic, first responders in our community and throughout our country who bravely serve our citizens and respond no matter what or when. We pray for their well-being and we ask that you be with them as they serve our communities. Tonight, we pray for guidance and that you give each of us patience, compassion, understanding, wisdom, strength, and courage as we conduct our city's business here this evening. We pray for these things in Christ's name, amen. OCD with that. All right, item 3 on the agenda is public comment. I believe we have Mr. Lloyd Roberts registered here this evening. Lloyd, welcome. If you don't mind coming up here at the podium and just state your name, please. Hi, thank you.
How are you guys?
Good, you?
I'm all right. Could be better, you know, but that's why I'm here, hoping to get better. All right, my name is Lloyd Roberts. I was in the Navy. I am a veteran, just like my father was in the Navy. My brother was in the Navy. My cousin was in the Navy. We're all veterans. We served this country, and frankly, right now, I'm a little bit angry about this, something that this council has done. I don't appreciate having our freedoms taken away because it inconveniences you. We live in a democratic society, a capitalistic society, and we are not a socialist society. But telling everybody in this town which garbage company to take care of, which garbage company to have, is a socialistic act. Forcing the entire population to use only one company for garbage removal is not only a socialist agenda, but it is also an illegal monopoly. I don't begrudge people getting a better deal for those who use regular garbage services, but there should be some form of opting out if you're going to be doing this. Doing what you have done removes the freedom of choice. Takes it away from everybody in the city. Now they have no choice. I put a blurb on Facebook to try to see what I got as far as a response for people's reactions on this, and it's running right around 50-50 in the city, which means you're not representing the true majority. I choose to pay more for my service. I don't want to pay $25 because I don't like the service that they have. I don't like the company that you picked. I purposely decided against that company when I had a choice to pick them. I decided not to. And now you're forcing me to take them. I've had my dumpster since 2015 when I contracted Advanced Disposal to take care of my garbage for my business, Little Lloyd's Vacuums, which was on North State Street. I had the dumpster moved to my house because I found it to be very convenient for the large items, and the fact that they just picked it up and I didn't have to carry it to the curb. I picked Advanced over MDC and RRD and Waste Management because they had a higher quality of service and a more professional customer service. They talked to me like I was a human being instead of a number. So far, every time I've talked to RRD, I've been threatened with a lawsuit if I don't pay, if I don't have their service. That's not customer service. That's bullying. Yet you decided that it was better for me to go with these people. I have tried every avenue to keep this service that I have because I don't like RRD. I prefer Advanced. I use my dumpster all the time. I fill it nearly every single time. Even when I don't, that's still my choice. My dumpster holds 72 cubic feet of space. The cans that they produce or they provide are 12 cubic feet for the regular garbage bin and 10 cubic feet for the recycling bin. Not even close. And if I have anything larger than a 2x2 space, I have to break it down into smaller chunks to put it in there. And there are some things that they just won't take. So I have to find other ways of getting rid of that refuse. Yard waste must be dealt with separately, which means that I have to buy yard bags. That's not saving me money. I can put it into my dumpster. I prefer the convenience of my container. I don't have to wheel it to the end of the driveway every week, rain or shine. They have a truck drive down my driveway and pick it up. Nobody's complained about this. Nobody has said anything about whether or not my dumpster stinks. I have people on both sides of me, and there's been no complaints about my dumpster. I keep the lids closed, and if it starts to smell, we take mint, which we grow in our yard, and throw it in there to take that away. I prefer the convenience of my container. I don't have to wheel it to the end of the driveway. I can dispose of the extra stuff that I have to, such as drywall, paneling, scrap wood, without having to cut it into small pieces. If I do a repair on a vacuum cleaner, I can throw away the parts without having to worry about them not accepting it, because they will not accept small motors, electric motors, for RRD. Your rushed and hurried, barely researched ordinance does not account for the needs of every individual in Belvedere. You did not survey the people from this city, and that implies that either one, you don't trust us to make our own decisions, or you don't think we're smart enough to do so. And that's disrespectful. You voted for it in a tie vote broken by the mayor. You did this on April 1st, and you had it in effect on June 1st. April, May, June. Actually, I did just April and May, June 1st, so it's only 2 months. It's a very short time. And it also makes it very suspicious. At first, and I'm not the only one that thought this, my neighbor said the exact same words to me without me saying a thing. The first thing out of his mouth was, somebody's getting a kickback. But I have since learned that there is some kind of grant that's being awarded to cities, or there's word of that, or a rumor of that. And so the whole key here is that you're forcing this on us because you want to get a specific grant from the state. I don't know if that's true or not. It's just a rumor. But I do know that it's not. If that is true, if either one of those is true, it's all about the money. It's not about your citizens. It's not about doing what's best for your citizens. You probably would have had a high percentage of citizens agree with the contract just because it's less expensive, and for most people it would be. But so far I've heard from my neighbors, and this is from my neighbors, my friends, and other service providers that I work with, including my tree removal service. And the basic talk is they shouldn't have forced this on us. They should have talked to us first. My neighbor, who lives directly beside me to the south, they don't even know what they are doing. Talking about RRD, not you. I already have MDC, and they still have dropped off extra cans. I don't know what to do with them, and they won't pick them up. The crew that cuts my trees said, we don't even use garbage disposal services. We take our garbage and put it in the dumpster at the business, That way we don't have to pay for it, and they are still forcing me to have their service, forcing them to have their service. This particularly bothers me because he asked them what would happen, and they said the same thing to me. He asked them what would happen if he didn't pay because he didn't need their services. They said they told him they would sue him. They're going to sue him over $25 a month. This isn't customer service. Again, it's bullying. Another neighbor down the street said, I don't care what they got I don't care that they got a special deal, but that ain't right to force it on everyone. We ain't a socialist society. And I'm quoting here. I talked to these people. Another one said, it's making a monopoly, and I'm pretty sure that is illegal. And a friend of mine who is a police chief in another town, I don't know if any of you know Gerald Taft. He said, yeah, technically they can't do that. Then he later rescinded that. He said, you can be if you are a home ruled, which apparently you guys are. He said, Waste Management rep called me one day and said that the village, he had a contract with people, and the people that weren't using their waste management should be arrested. I informed him, this is Gerald's, he says, I informed them that he was correct. The village had a contract with them saying that he could charge X amounts of dollars, but other than that, a person has a right to do business with whomever they choose. And that is true across all of the United States. We have a choice to choose who we do business with. And you have tried to take that away from us, and I don't appreciate it. What's worse is that one of the council members made a motion to allow residents to opt out, and it was voted down. So not only was our rights taken away, but we weren't even given an option when we could have been. This seems clear to indicate that you don't listen to your constituents and/or you don't care if they have the services they want, just as long as it meets what you want. So what's next? Are you going to tell us which construction company to use? Are you going to pick one out for us? Which lawn care service? Which dentist? Is that next? It's a poor leader that feels that they need to control even the smallest aspect of their, and I'm paraphrasing, constituents' lives. So here's my promise to you. I would ask that you fix this, whatever way you can. Remove it, redo the deal, put an opt-out clause in. Get these people off our backs. They don't need to be bullies. And we don't need to be bullied. If you cannot or will not, I'll pay for the inadequate service. I will come here every month, every meeting, and I will bitch about it every single time. And then when those people that voted for it come up for re-election, I will definitely be campaigning against you. I have lived here in Belvedere my whole life. And if I know one thing about it, it's the people of this city do not appreciate socialism. This is a bill from RRD for $99.45. I have not put a single thing in their garbage cans. I have not used their garbage cans. Their garbage cans have not come onto my property, and I have called them every single week since they dropped them off and told them to come pick them up. They have refused to do so, even though they know I have another service. And they have threatened to sue me. Over this. I'm not paying this. I'm done. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. I will just comment briefly on Mr. Roberts, what you had indicated. you had said that, it indicated more or less that there was somebody that was paid, or that that's what the rumor was. I've heard those rumors and innuendos too, and that's not true. Because a lot of the times that was directed at me. If anybody knows me, I would never, ever take any money. But I want to clear the record, I'm telling you. I know you don't know. But what you had indicated was that, you know, there was evidently some money exchanged or favoritism regarding that contract. The individuals, when I come into office, you can sit down. When I come into office, I had received numerous emails and numerous calls. Most of them were from senior citizens. And they had asked me, Mayor, my garbage has went up 100% in the last 3.5 years. And I said, I know, mine has too. And so their question was, how does government look at, what do they do in order to make sure that we have more affordable hauling of refuse? And quite frankly, I wasn't sure. But I did check with some of the surrounding communities, Rockford, Roscoe, Rockton, Loves Park, McChesney Park, Poplar Grove, Marengo, Rochelle, and I did check with all of them, and they said, you have 4 trucks going down your street, and some of them pick up my garbage, and they may pick up Alderman McGee's garbage, they may pick up Alderwoman Frank's garbage, and they may pick up Alderwoman Mulhall's, all on the same street. And they said, I've never heard of such a thing. But the problem is that the taxpayers, the residents, have to pay for the streets as well. Some of the hidden costs are the constant road repair that we have to do because we have 4 haulers picking up maybe 25% of the garbage or less. So what I had found out is that they contracted garbage through a franchise agreement. And they do that at a sizable savings to the majority of people. Now in this case, City of Belvedere, Marengo Disposal collected 70 to 75% of the refuse in Belvedere. So we had put those out for requests for proposals, and we had received back, and Rock River was the lowest bidder. They are also a parent company, or they are also a partner company of the same company that picked up 70 to 75% of residents' garbage. And they're going to do it at a sizable discount, only because a franchise agreement, like all the other communities that I'd mentioned, they had recognized that as well. So I had asked the council if they wanted to go through and see if some of the citizens that had sent me emails, given me phone calls, if they felt that that was the path they wanted to proceed in. And so we did. 99% of the residents in Belvedere, maybe 99.9% of the residents in Belvedere, Illinois, that are single family or 2-family, are going to save money on this contract. And I could read for you some of the emails that I have from individuals that said, thank you, and thank the council for doing that. Because I don't have to tell you this, but with the inflationary rate, what it's been the last 4 years, garbage has went up 100%. And you factor in groceries, you factor in fuel, you factor in prescriptions, and all the other things that we've been subjected to. There's very few times I thought that government could actually do something that could possibly save people money on a runaway garbage contract because we had 4 haulers. This was nothing. I want to be clear about this. I think your statements are a little bit misleading. I take exception to it because never would I accept any money from anybody. The only savings, the city doesn't get any The city doesn't receive any franchise money to sign this agreement. The savings are all passed on to the residents. Any resident who has single-family or a two-family service, they receive the discount. The only way that the other communities could do that was to have a franchise agreement, just like we did. So it has nothing to do with money that was given, as the innuendo says, money that was given by me or anybody else in this city. That definitely would never be the case, and it isn't now. Yeah, well, and you come up here and repeated it. You didn't ask me about it.
Because I needed to repeat it to
Yeah.
people here, to you.
Yeah.
I want to know the truth. I never,
Yeah.
ever like gossip, and I go
Yeah.
right to the source.
Well, you come here in front of a mic, sir, you come here in front of a microphone, and you did do that. And, yeah, yeah. Well, you should have called me, because I could have told you and saved you that.
You know what happened? Somebody called me back and threatened to take away my dumpster right away and fine me.
Me?
No.
Oh, okay.
You didn't call me back.
You never called me, sir. Okay. Well, I'm not going to argue with you. You've had your chance here, but I wanted to make sure that I explained the point from the residents that are going to overwhelmingly save money. We do have the majority. It's almost 100%. It's probably 99.9%. Well, you know what?
I think you're fooling yourself.
Well, you may, but you also mentioned that somebody was taking a kickback. Well, obviously, yeah.
That there was a grant.
Well, there is no grant room. There's no grant rumor either. There's no grant rumor either. And actually, you had a chance to speak, so if you'd allow me to finish, I had a couple other points to make. Thank you. So residents in this community, there's very few times, especially with the price of inflation, that they have seen that government, I could not name one time that government has ever done anything to save residents money. And I'm talking about the overwhelming majority. Will we get 100% of the people? You'll never get 100% of the people in anything. You'll always have people that are disenfranchised. Always. It happens. But overwhelmingly in the city of Belvedere, just like the other communities that I named, this is going to save residents a lot of money over the year and each quarter. So the question is, what can you do to provide relief at a time when inflation is so high? 100% over 4 years. The contract that the city signed on this is a 5-year contract. In that contract, you'll have a cap at 3.5%. So we've actually made this inflation-proof. We've actually capped it. Over 5 years, people who called and wanted to have, that were pointed out that they were suffering, they were paying a garbage bill. They're not going to have to risk paying another 100% in 3.5 or 4 years. We've taken the inflation out of it. That'll be capped at 17.5% over 5 years. So the point being, very few times can you does government ever save people money? And in this case, we have. We've saved them, we're going to save them quite a bit of money. And, when you look at your providers with electricity, we also have an aggregation here that in the past we've been able to save residents 2 cents a kilowatt hour from ComEd's rates if we would have an electric aggregation company, which we've done in the past. We have done that. And it has saved residents money. But unfortunately now, even in our meeting tonight, as we go on the agenda, there is no savings in that anymore. Inflation, I think, has gobbled that up. But in this case, I think that the council acted prudently. Will you get everybody, and will you always get everybody to be satisfied with it? No, you're not. But the individuals overwhelmingly, the community members are going to see a significant savings in this, and for that I'm grateful. So that's the only comment I wanted to make. Thank you. No, you don't. You can come back. Okay. So moving on, under public comment, I guess that's all we have regarding that. I do want to mention that we had Heritage Days this past weekend. I did want to thank our Grand Marshals. We had Mr. Paul Condon. Paul was a co-Grand Marshal Grand Marshals. Paul Condon was a Perry school teacher at the district, at District 100 for 34 years. And with him was Jerry Ottman. He had 37 years at Lincoln School. And it was an honor to have them. I hope people got to come to the parade, and they were our Grand Marshals. I also wanted to thank Gina. Gina puts a lot of hard work into Heritage Days. Heritage Days just doesn't happen. It requires a lot of hard work. So Gina, thank you. And as well, Jim Roman. I think Jim, he had made sure that the Public Works Department, with all the things that they do to provide safety barricades and make sure that the garbage, we have containers out for the garbage and that things are opened up and picked up on time. Jim and the Public Works Department, the entire staff, they always do a wonderful job every year, so I want to thank them. Chief Woody, Deputy Chief Smaha, Officer Blankenship, we're all there, as well as Belvedere Police Department's finest. So I appreciate it, Chief. We have a safe parade this year, and I want to recognize Belvedere Police Department, Belvedere Fire Department, the Metro Paramedic Transport. We're also on site, so thank you to them. Mr. Don Banks, he's the guy who gets the floats, the lineup done every year, and Don threatens me every year that this will be his last year, but he said that from 3 years ago, and I don't think that's the case, but I certainly appreciate Don. Also, the Arts Council, Heidi Thacker, Troy Yunk, they had painted a mural for Mr. John Lawson, and John Lawson was quite an individual. He was a slave, and he fought. He enlisted. Actually, they wanted him to fight for the Confederacy, and he actually enlisted in the Union to fight for his freedom. So John Lawson actually is buried in Belvedere, and I wasn't aware of Mr. Lawson, but he died in 1924. He was 97 years old. He was truly a great American. Not only did he fight for his own freedom, but he fought for our freedoms. He fought for everybody after. And John Lawson was a wonderful human being. He was also a custodian at, I believe, the grade school was on the site of the former junior high, I was told, on Pearl Street. So John Lawson worked there. He was so well thought of that his students took up a collection so that he could go visit some of his family. And anyhow, so his family came back for the mural dedication. There were, I believe, 12 family members. One of them was named John Lawson, and John and his family, as far as Oklahoma, came here to visit. So it was that mural probably is as deserving as any of them that we've ever put up, and I want to thank the Arts Council for that. So Gina, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
I just want to thank all of the volunteers that helped out over the weekend. YMCA, Park District, city staff, there was a lot of volunteers that helped a lot.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, moving on. Item 4, the approval of minutes. Item A, approval of minutes of the regular meeting of the Belvedere City Council dated June 17th, 24 as presented. If I could have a motion to that effect. Motion by Alderwoman Frank, second by Alderman Snow. Any questions, any comments regarding the motion on the floor, or any corrections in the minutes? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed, thank you. And tonight we have a public hearing. Item 5A is an annexation agreement relating to real property generally located south of the intersection of Business US Route 20 and Distillery Road. That is Park District property. Clerk Sarah Turnipseed had sent to be published in the Boone County Journal on the 10th of June. It was published in the Journal on June 13th. It's a notice of public hearing of annexation agreement for the city of Belvedere. So I guess I would open up the hearing at this time. It is, we'll open up the public hearing at 6:30 p.m. And if there's anybody in the audience who wants to speak regarding the annexation agreement and the public hearing, now's your chance. We'll open it to the public. Okay, hearing none, we will close the public hearing at 6:31 p.m. Thank you. We have special messages and proclamations this evening. I guess we don't have any. We have approval of expenditures on the agenda. We have none. Item 8, committee reports and minutes of city officers. Item A, approval of minutes of the regular committee of the whole, Public Safety and Finance and Personnel, dated June 24th, 2024, as presented. If the motion by Alderman Snow, second by Alderman Fleury. Thank you both. Any questions, any comments, any corrections on the minutes that are in your packet regarding that meeting? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And if there's any opposed? Motion passed, thank you. Item 9, unfinished business, we have A, ordinance 681H for a second reading, that being an ordinance granting a special use to amend a planned development within the heavy industrial district, Crosslink Business Park number 2 subdivision, which this is related to Walmart. If I could have a motion to that effect, please. Motion by Alderman Snow and a second by Alderman McGee. Thank you both. Any questions or comments regarding ordinance 681H? And that is, as I said, an ordinance granting a special use to amend a planned development within the heavy industrial district at Crosslink Business Park number 2. The property owner is Walmart Stores East out of Bentonville, Arkansas. If there's any questions. Alderman Snow.
So this is kind of generic in its scope, Gina, but did anybody come to the public hearing in the zoning and make comments or for or against?
Not necessarily against, there was just one resident there that was confused about the road frontage. They thought that meant that Walmart was taking their property, which was not the case. So after that was explained to them, they actually left the meeting content, so.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion on the floor, when their name is called, answer aye. Any opposed, nay. As the clerk calls the roll, please.
Albertini?
Aye.
Brereton?
Aye.
Flurry?
Aye.
Frank? Aye. Freeman? Aye. Gramkowski? Aye. McGee?
Aye.
Mulhall?
Aye.
Snow?
Aye.
Stevens?
Aye.
10 in favor.
Motion passed, thank you. And we have item B, ordinance 682H is a second reading this evening, that being an ordinance approving a replat titled Replat of Lot 2 of Crosslink Business Park, number 2 subdivision. If I could have a motion to that effect,
I'll make that
please.
motion.
Motion by Alderman Albertini, and a second, please. Second by Alderman Snow. Thank you both. Any questions, any comments regarding the motion on the floor? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion will, when their name is called, answer aye. Any opposed, nay. As the clerk calls the roll, please.
Brereton?
Aye.
Flurry?
Aye.
Frank? Aye. Freeman? Aye. Gramkowski? Aye. McGee?
Aye.
Mulhall?
Aye.
Snow?
Aye.
Stevens?
Aye.
Albertini?
Aye.
10 in favor.
Motion passed, thank you. And we have item C, ordinance 683H is a second reading this evening. In front of you, that being an ordinance authorizing the execution of an annexation agreement between the City of Belvedere and Belvedere Township Park District. That would be for the Glen Green property. Motion by Alderman Snow, thank you, and a second by Alderman Albertini, thank you. Any comments, any questions regarding that? Of course, the City of Belvedere has been trying to find a way to make contiguity out of a pre-annexation agreement that we have currently. I know that Alderman Stevens has talked to me numerous times about the fact that there's a certain subdivision that doesn't pay city taxes, but they enjoy all of the city services, water, sewer, police, and fire. So because it was a pre-annexation agreement, it was, I believe, signed in 2005. There's a 20-year deadline for that to take place, to annex that to the City of Belvedere, and that time is fast approaching. One of the attempts that we've decided is if we can get the Park District to annex, we can go at it from another point, and we would be able to make them contiguous with the city and hopefully be able to bring them in. As I said, the City of Belvedere probably years ago never thought that it would be, that it would take 20 years. At that time, I think there was a lot of fast-paced building. We had a lot of building that was going on then, and I don't think anybody anticipated the stall in 2008. But here it is, 20 years later. We've kind of inherited this, and this would give us, certainly help close the loop with options to be able to do that, so. Is that it? Okay, so I need a, if I get a motion, did you?
Oh,
Is that
okay,
it? Is that the one?
6A3, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So if there's any questions or comments, Alderwoman Freeman?
Thank you. My questions are for Attorney Drella. The impact fees, I don't know if anybody else reads this, but I certainly do. In April, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned a California appellate ruling from Nolan and Dolan that brought a case that said they were charged impact fees for a residential building a residential house, and they brought a case that the fee was invalid under the takings clause of the Fifth Amendment. California upheld that, but the U.S. Supreme Court struck it down. So, according to this article, it says, it doesn't prevent local governments from issuing impact fees. However, given this recent decision, local governments will now want to ensure that all such legislation imposed impact fees comply with Nolan and Dolan's requirements, and that local governments may face challenges and lower courts may rule on other issues raised in the case because of this ruling. So I just want to make sure that this all does comply with that.
It does, because it does not fall under it. This is an agreement, they're not being imposed by legislation.
Right,
being
but
agreed to
I'm
by-
talking about future, this talks about future
I'm
stuff
talking
here.
about this agreement right now, which is what we're doing. Our impact fees that are imposed by a subdivision control ordinance, yes, the same dollar amounts, but they're imposed a different way. We have not imposed them in over 20 years because we do it through agreements, through development agreements like this. They were drafted to avoid the very kinds of cases of Nolan Dolan. The Nolan Dolan case actually started about 20 years ago, 15 years ago, and there's been different iterations of that over that time period. I don't want to openly discuss our subdivision control ordinance at this point. Could it use a refresher? Probably. But that's not what we're talking about here tonight.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, any other comments? That was California, you said, was?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other comments? Okay, thank you. We have a motion on the floor, that being ordinance 683H, an ordinance authorizing the execution of the annexation agreement between the city of Belvedere and Belvedere Township Park District. All those in favor will, when their name is called, answer aye. Any opposed, nay. As the clerk calls the roll, please.
Flurry,
Aye.
Frank,
Aye.
Freeman. Gramkowski,
Aye.
McGee,
Aye.
Mulhall,
Aye.
Snow,
Aye.
Stevens,
Aye.
Albertini,
Aye.
Brereton,
Aye.
10 in favor.
Motion passed, thank you. And flipping the next page, we have item D, ordinance 684H, as a second reading here this evening, that being an ordinance annexing certain territory lying south of US Business Route 20 and west of Distillery Road to the city of Belvedere, Boone County, Illinois. If I could have a motion to that effect regarding the annexation of that same property. Motion by Alderman Snow and a second by Alderman Stevens. Thank you both. Any questions, any comments regarding the motion on the floor? And again, that is the same property that we had just talked about in 683 regarding the annexation agreement. All right, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion will, when their name is called, answer aye. Any opposed, nay. As the clerk calls the roll, please.
Frank,
Aye.
Freeman. Gramkowski,
Aye.
McGee,
Aye.
Mulhall,
Aye.
Snow,
Aye.
Stevens,
Aye.
Albertini,
Aye.
Brereton,
Aye.
Flurry,
Aye.
10 in favor.
Motion passed, thank you. And moving to item 10, new business, we have A, ordinance 685H. As a first reading tonight, you'll see that again in 2 weeks, that being an ordinance adding certain territory to Ward 1 of the city of Belvedere, with Midwest Refrigerated Services being annexed. The city attorney had drafted this regarding where, in what ward that property would fall under, and that will be coming back. We also have item B, Resolution 2024-9, a resolution authorizing the mayor's execution of a master supply agreement with MC Squared pursuant to the City of Belvedere's Municipal Electric Aggregation Program. I'd spoken about that briefly earlier. If I could have a motion for discussion, put this on the floor. Motion by Alderwoman Frank, thank you. And a second by Alderman McGee, thank you both. So that, in the past, I think it started maybe in 2012. I think Belvedere had started doing an electric aggregation at that time. ComEd being the provider, there were some, with the new laws that were put into effect regarding monopolies for electric companies, they had come up with allowing aggregate companies to compete. In the past, the city of Belvedere has saved quite a bit of money, not only for the residents, for the users, but also the city of Belvedere would receive a check from the company that had competed for the business. So in this case, there is no savings. ComEd had lowered their rates, is my understanding, and the third party, the aggregation company, are not able to provide a lower service. They can, however, match, and they do match. Same, they have the, ComEd is the same biller. ComEd also provides same service during an outage. There isn't really, they own all the equipment. There isn't anything that's changed. However, in this agreement, they will provide the city with a $36,000 payment to the city, and that was part of being bid, this contract being bid, and I will take any questions. Alderman Snow?
So just for clarity, particularly for the audience, this one does have an opt-out option. I think you have to jump through hoops if you want to get out of it, but you do have the option to jump out of it.
And in this case, as in that one, it does provide some monetary finances to the city of Belvedere for the residents. We certainly spend that on any residential needs that we may have. And it provides them with some money. In the past, it has been with a lower rate. So just to be clear. Alderwoman Freeman?
Thank you. So unlike the garbage thing, this contract is not contingent upon 100% everybody being in, but correct me if I'm wrong, you're automatically in unless you do opt out, right? You're not, it's not an
That's correct.
opt-in thing, it's you're in unless you opt out.
And actually, they pick and choose a little bit. They will look at what they consider to be unprofitable homes and just not include them. So it's opt-in, opt-out, and they also have an opt-in out on their side also.
Okay. Alderman Albertini?
Thank you, Mayor. The way I understood it from the last time when the postcard came to some of the people's homes, they had asked me what that, age was going on. And I never received one, and I still am with ComEd. Not everybody is with this company. They send out cards randomly on a collection of some kind of list. I don't know how they accumulate it. And they send it out that you're going to be billed by these people unless you opt out. I've never got one, so I have no option to opt out because I'm still with ComEd as far as my billing. If you do get a bill from these people, it'll still be on a ComEd bill for your listing, but in the lower right-hand corner will be their initials showing that you are part of them. So that if you want to opt out when you see it on your bill, you could contact them and do so. But this is not, everybody's on it right now. It's phenomenal how it works. I just don't grasp it, but as long as I guess the city is making some money on it, I'm going to leave it alone. But I just wanted to make it clear that this is how it was picked.
And just to make sure that, for clarity, the billing is done by ComEd. As I said, the service is provided by ComEd if you have an outage. It is pretty much, that they bid on having them be a middleman. But really, there's nothing that changes other than, for me, I certainly did switch, or I did go with them from the very beginning. Even in 2012, I did, because I always thought that if that put money in the city's coffers, the city wouldn't have to take that money from taxpayers' wallet, wouldn't have to collect that money from the taxpayers. They could collect it from there, and if the rates are less or equal, I thought that would be a good thing. So I think that summarizes it. But ComEd still does the billing. They still provide the service. And you still call them if you have an outage. And they still track outages through ComEd. There's nothing that is done other than the fact in this case, in the past, the city had received a check for $110,000, I believe it was. Is that correct?
Under our current contract, we were receiving $120,000 a year.
120.
Under the new one, it'll be $36,000 a year.
Thank you. So it has diminished, but I guess something's better than nothing. So anyhow, is there any more questions regarding the motion on the floor for authorizing the mayor's execution of a master supply agreement with MC Squared pursuant to the City of Belvedere's Municipal Electric Aggregation Program? Okay. All those in favor will, when their name is called, answer aye. Any opposed, nay. As the clerk calls the roll, please.
Freeman. Aye. Gramkowski.
Aye.
McGee.
Aye.
Mulhall.
Aye.
Snow.
Aye.
Stevens.
Aye.
Albertini.
Aye.
Brereton.
No.
Flurry.
Aye.
Frank. Aye. 9 in favor.
Motion passed. Thank you. Moving on, motions forwarded from Committee of the Whole, Public Safety, Finance, and Personnel of June 24, 2024. Motions out of Public Safety. Chairman Fleury.
Thank you, Mayor. A, motion to accept a donation of $10,000 from an anonymous donor to be used for a purchase to be determined at a later date.
Okay, we have that motion out of committee. Is there any discussion regarding the motion on the floor? Any questions? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion will, when their name is called, answer aye. Any opposed, nay. As the clerk calls the roll, please.
Gramkowski,
Aye.
McGee,
Aye.
Mulhall,
Aye.
Snow,
Aye.
Stevens,
Aye.
Albertini,
Aye.
Brereton,
Abstain.
Flurry,
Aye.
Frank. Aye. Freeman. Aye. 9 in favor.
Motion passed, thank you. Item B, Chairman Fleury.
B, motion to approve the mayor to sign a contract authorizing the purchase of 47 Motorola APX N70 portable radio packages for $368,020.58, and authorize the use of $367,717 from the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity Grant, with the remaining $303.58 to be taken from the police department's miscellaneous funds line item.
All right, thank you. Is there any questions or comments regarding the motion out of committee? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion will, when their name is called, answer aye. Any opposed, nay. As the clerk calls the roll, please.
McGee,
Aye.
Mulhall,
Aye.
Snow,
Aye.
Stevens,
Aye.
Albertini,
Aye.
Brereton,
Aye.
Flurry,
Aye.
Frank. Aye. Freeman. Aye. Gramkowski.
Aye.
10 in favor.
Motion passed, thank you. Item C.
C, motion to approve the Mexico Independence Day Parade permit request from LULAC Belvedere for September 14th, 2024.
We have that motion out of committee. Any questions, any comments on the motion on the floor? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion will, when their name is called, answer aye. Any opposed, nay. As the clerk calls the roll, please.
Mulhall,
Aye.
Snow,
Aye.
Stevens,
Aye.
Albertini,
Aye.
Brereton,
Aye.
Flurry,
Aye.
Frank. Aye. Freeman. Aye. Gramkowski.
Aye.
McGee,
Aye.
10 in favor.
Motion passed, thank you. Thank you, Chairman Fleury. Moving to motions out of Finance and Personnel, Chairwoman Frank.
Thank you, Mayor. Motion to accept grant funds from the Mortem Arboretum in the amount of $76,650 to be used for the completion of a tree inventory, canopy assessment, and urban forest management plan for all publicly owned property in the city, and to authorize the mayor and finance director to execute any documentation necessary to facilitate the receipt of grant funds.
Okay, we have that motion out of committee. Any questions regarding the motion on the floor? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion will, when their name is called, answer aye. Any opposed, nay. As the clerk calls the roll, please.
Snow,
Aye.
Stevens,
Aye.
Albertini,
Aye.
Brereton,
Aye.
Flurry,
Aye.
Frank.
Aye.
Freeman. Aye. Gramkowski.
Aye.
McGee,
Aye.
Mulhall,
Aye.
10 in favor.
Motion passed, thank you. Item E.
Motion to authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement regarding receipt of developer subdivision contributions for the Belvedere Community Unit, School District 100.
Okay, we have that motion out of committee. Any questions? Alderman Snow?
So just for clarity, this is to allow the city to transfer money from accounts that we have been holding impact fees for to District 100. Is that correct?
It is, it kind of ties into what Alderman Freeman was bringing up earlier, is we require this both through our annexation agreements as well as our subdivision control ordinance. We're essentially collecting money on behalf of all the government bodies. If they want the money, they have to, number one, agree they're going to comply with criteria such as Nolan Dolan, but also to indemnify and defend the city if there's ever a lawsuit over it.
And I know in the past, I think one of the aldermen had brought up that they hadn't recalled any, had this ever coming back before the council. I don't believe it has since I've been here in office, but I do believe it should have. I do believe that the city of Belvedere, the individuals that support an impact fee ordinance that basically helps to make sure that some of the individuals that develop property that aren't from the community, and they, after they cash their last check, they're gone. And the burden of what they leave behind here is passed on to the taxpayers. So the impact fees are in place to make sure that they do contribute to education, to public safety, to the streets, and to everything else. So our infrastructure, but we do that, and I think I think that's a good way to help the taxpayers. Otherwise, they shoulder the burden of that. We've done that since 1995. Mayor Peterson, as I had said before, had essentially started making sure that contributions were given so that taxpayers here didn't suffer the consequences of greed. And Mayor Brereton also had expanded that when he was mayor, and here we are today. But the check that we will be giving to Belvedere School District 100 is in the amount of $520,000 and some change. So it is a lot of money, and it does help with education that otherwise we as taxpayers would definitely have to make the contribution. So Alderwoman Freeman.
Thank you again, Mayor. So these are impact fees that have been collected for numerous years, and they go into different pots of like the conservation, the park district, the school district, the city gets a share. So I don't know if you can tell me, Director Hansen, how often, like I said, this is the first time I've seen anybody trying to get money from this. In fact, I didn't know until now that the impact fees were actually divvied up between these different entities. How often, or have these other entities like made withdrawals from this, or how does that work?
So over the course of collections, I certainly have from time to time. Since I've been here for 3 years, this is the first time that the school district has requested funds. So I would have to look back to see when they last requested, but they can actually ask at any point in time. But some still haven't asked since I've been here, others have.
And just to go a little, just to comment about the impact fees and about the collection, the city collects, the city is the only one who can collect that. The city council has to approve that to be able to collect those fees for the city. The county, they can choose to, they choose not to. They have not collected fees. I think it's a mistake because I think development, they want to market their properties on all the advantages that Belvedere has. Belvedere has a lot of good things, education being one of them, public safety being one of them, and parks and recs being another one. And I think that without it, we wouldn't be able to share in those impact fees. So I've always been a strong believer since the inception of that. Many of the communities along the growth corridor east of here, that's where those started. I think Naperville and Crystal Lake was some of the starting points for that. And part of that is they had seen rampant growth, and they had to provide services because of that rampant growth. And I know that I've said this before, and you understand it, that 68% of our property taxes goes towards education. And in this case, the city of Belvedere is going to do their part to make sure that some of the growth that we've had, not only with education, but with, as you had mentioned, other services, that we do our part to make sure that nobody skates and everybody contributes fairly. So is there anything else? Perry School, though, Perry School, as we recall, was talked about being closed. I had went to Perry School, and I had went back through Perry School. I was not impressed at some of the improvements that weren't made at Perry School. They had done some of the basics, windows, roof, which it needed a new roof, and I'd been to their meetings at District 100 where they talked about the dilapidation of Perry School. The fact being, to me, my point was, the city of Belvedere does collect impact fees for you, and if Perry School is going to be closed, why? And part of the reason was, well, it needs a $300,000 roof, and it has other things to be made. So I did go through Perry School. I took a tour through Perry School. As I said, I was not impressed. It didn't look to me like it had changed one bit since 1970, and that being the last time I was in Perry School. The other part of it was that with the $500,000 that we are going to secure, the question obviously would be, if you have a leaky roof, anybody has a leak in their roof, the first thing they do is stop the leak or everything below it suffers. And so will you use that money to go ahead and repair that roof? And that was part of the problem. It needed a roof. Well, there'll be $520,000 that the city of Belvedere has collected for them, and the Park District, other money, and the Conservation District as well, and Public Safety here as well. So anyhow, do we have anything? Okay, so with that being said, we have a motion. We do have a motion, right?
Out of
Yeah.
committee.
Motion and a second. Is there any other questions or any comments? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion on the floor will, when their name is called, answer aye. Any opposed, nay, as the clerk calls the roll, please.
Stevens,
Aye.
Albertini,
Aye.
Brereton,
Aye.
Flurry,
Aye.
Frank,
Aye.
Freeman. Gramkowski,
Aye.
McGee,
Aye.
Mulhall,
Aye.
Snow,
Aye.
10 in favor.
Motion passed, thank you. And then moving to item 11, other, I would ask that we go into an executive session for litigation either pending or imminent pursuant to 2C11 of the Open Meetings Act.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Alderman Snow, thank you, and a second by Alderwoman Frank. Thank you both. All those in favor, will, when their name is called, answer aye. Any opposed, nay, as the clerk calls the roll, please.
Albertini,
Aye.
Brereton,
Aye.
Flurry,
Aye.
Frank,
Aye.
Freeman, Gramkowski,
Aye.
McGee,
Aye.
Mulhall,
Aye.
Snow,
Aye.
Stevens,
Aye.
10 in favor.
Give me a minute to make sure we get off the air.
Okay, we